Welcome to Creative Type Podcast. This is episode 27, Open Studios. I'm Lori Rivera.
And I'm Jaime Haney.
And welcome again to Creative Type Podcast.
Hello!
Woohoo! Episode 27, I think is what I said. Yeah, 27.
We made it. We made it back
Oh
again.
my, I can't believe we come this far, you know?
I know. We're almost at a year. Now, granted, we missed about 5 months out of the year, but, or,
yeah,
it was about 5 months.
But still, I mean, you know, we're back. We're trying to regain our traction and.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about your open studio, which, surprise, Lori had an open studio.
Yeah, my first one. I've been talking about having one for years. Well, I wouldn't say years, maybe 3 or 4 years. And, but that is years, I guess.
Yeah, it is. It's more than one.
Yeah. And I just, you know, I always, decided not to do one because I thought, oh, my studio is too small, or, oh, it's in our house. People won't want to come to our house.
Yeah, and you were afraid to have people in your house, too, because I remember talking about that. Because you've got cats, and you've got a daughter, and you have a husband that works at home. And, there was all kinds of barriers for you, and it just took a little nudging, and I'm going to take a little credit here. Because
you should.
Yeah, I nudged you to do that, and it turned out to be fantastic, didn't I? I almost cussed, but I held back.
I don't think anybody cares.
All right, it turned out fucking fantastic.
Yeah. I was happy with it. I mean, I only invited 30 people. Yeah, I wanted to keep it small.
Right.
Because it was my first time around, and I wanted to see how it went before I invite more people the next time. You know?
Yeah.
So this is kind of like a trial run, you know?
Yes. And you wanted to keep it like people you knew. Or at least you felt like it wasn't just open to the general public, which I think, you know, that can open a whole different can of worms, and you kind of have to decide if you want to do that. I think maybe I think if you had a studio outside of your home, that's a better option, but I think I would keep it to collectors, potential collectors, friends, family, people like that, other artists. I think it's just safer nowadays to do that. You don't want to be putting that out there for your actual home. But anyway, you've got the perfect situation. You live in a very accessible part of town. You have street parking where people can park. You have, here's the main thing, you have an entrance into your studio that's outside of the house.
Right,
so
our back door.
Yes, you do not have to traipse through the house to get to it. And I just think that is fantastic. And you also have your restroom. You don't have to go to the house. You don't have it in your studio, but it's in the same hall, right?
Yeah, and it's just right. It's next door to my studio. So if somebody needs to use the restroom, you know, it's no big deal. They don't have to feel uncomfortable because it's right there, and I don't have to worry about people going through our house. Not that I think somebody would go through our house and do anything, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, you just have to be careful nowadays. And but, you know, I like you said, I limited it to people I knew and felt comfortable with coming to the house. And I actually did decide to put an open invite on Facebook for my Facebook friends. I did not list my address or anything. I just said, hey, open studio till 4 today. If you want directions, let me know.
Yes, yeah.
You know.
And I think that was good because as this progresses, and you plan on having it again, right? We talked about you having another one in May or so. Wasn't that it?
Yeah, like beginning of May.
Yeah. And so I'm sure that this will grow. And you'll just have to, you know, if it gets out of hand, then you'll know not to do that, right? If you start getting too many people. Right. You don't have a super big studio. But we also talked about, and Lisa, you know, our Fartupi, is that what it's called?
Fartupi,
and we'll have to explain what that is again. You know what it is. It's an acronym.
The F stands for favorite. And then the
artist.
Art stands for artist. And Tupi is for groupie, I think.
Yeah.
So Fartupi.
Right. And so she showed up because she's always been a very great cheerleader for all of us, for me and Vicky. and she's always there to support us. She helps us out, and we're just great friends with her now.
We're so grateful.
We're so grateful, and she's just become a really close friend with us all.
Yeah.
And she had the suggestion, which I had already said to you, but I think it helps to get another person's, you ought to do this. She mentioned that when it's warm, you can drag a lot of stuff outside.
Yeah.
So if it starts to get too big, pop up a tent. You can have, more space that way as this gets larger. But I think you had it at a good time. So you had it in, okay, well, let's first say you had it scheduled in November, right? And then you got the dreaded Rona.
Yes, that was the first time I had ever had it, too.
Yeah.
I made it for, 3 years without getting
I know.
it?
That's crazy. But luckily you weren't sick. You weren't very sick.
No, not at all.
No. So luckily you had that, but you had to shut it down and postpone it.
Postponed it for 2 weeks and
But luckily you had not bought any postcards, right?
Right.
You didn't purchase any postcards.
Right. So, I decided not to invest money in postcards for this. I thought, I want to make it more personal, so I did create like a little image, kind of like a postcard image that I sent to people on Facebook or to their email or to their text messages. And it was like an actual postcard advertising the event. But then I wrote, a little message with it, like, hope you can make it, or just something a little, something relevant to them,
Right.
Like if I know, like like the ones who came to my Blue Stocking talk, for example. I said, thank you for coming to my talk and supporting me. I'm having an open studio. Hope you can make it. I wrote a little something. I tried to write a little something with each invite,
Yeah, right. To personalize it to each person. And I think that goes a long way because people just want to be seen, I think.
Right.
And when you notice them and let them know that you notice them. I think that is
right.
We're all just building relationships here, right?
Because, that's what it's all about. Yeah.
Yeah.
People don't want to be a number.
No.
They don't want to be a number in your ledger where you're bringing in money. They want to know that they're important to you and that they're people. They're people first. They're not just a customer.
Money. Yeah, they're not wallets walking around. Right.
Right.
And as I don't know of any artist that treats their customers or collectors like that. I mean, we're all so grateful, right? Because it's hard to make a living as an artist. And we just keep plugging away. But if we didn't have our supporters and the people that, even if they don't buy anything from us, if they support us by, sharing and liking and all that and getting on our email list and coming to our events, that is so much, it's so helpful. It really is good for not only, showing your support, but for the artist's psyche, right? That really makes me feel good.
Yeah, and you said something about relationships. We were talking about that, I kind of saw my open studio as not necessarily, I'm going to bring in lots of money. Right. I didn't really see it like that. I saw it more as a relationship building activity for my collectors and friends to come to my studio and get a close up view of, hey, this is where I work and getting to know them better and just spending time with them. It was great. Like everybody who came stayed for at least a half an hour.
Yeah, I think it's great. And you had bought some little goodies, and you had something to drink, right? And you had little. Did you have a door prize? I can't remember.
I did. Yeah, I gave away 4 little door prizes. And
nice.
Let's see what else. Oh, and I gave away a postcard with a class on it where they could follow along with me. That was another door prize, so they can get on and paint. They can paint a cardinal with me. So it has a little
I'm gonna steal
code.
that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to steal that idea. That was genius. I have to say that was great. Yeah. And then you had just had nice little snacks. I told you to bake some cookies, but you didn't do that, right? Yeah. Well, you're going to do that next time because it makes the house smell so good.
Yeah.
But you're right. You just treat these people like your friends because they have become our friends, right? Those are the ones that show up for us. The ones that they start out buying a little something from us, and then they just become, because of keeping up relationships with them.
Yeah.
That's the way to build it, I think. And that's how I've built mine as well too.
Yeah.
So let's see. We talked about your location. You got your stuff. You had the first one and had to postpone it. So when did you actually have this one? Was that the first weekend in December?
I think it was on December 2nd.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right. And I did. I mentioned I invited 30 people earlier. I had 8 people come, which
I think that's great.
That's not a huge number, but considering I only invited 30, I was happy with that.
Yes. No, I think that is good. I think that's really good.
And one thing I was worried about was, oh my gosh, if like 5 people show up at one time, like how is this going to play out? Because my studio is fairly small. Well, at one point there were 4 people in here plus me, and it wasn't bad.
Oh, good. So there you go. You know now what it's like. And like we said, you have that door. So we talked about maybe keeping the door open for extra circulation and just that open feeling. So I think it went really well especially for your first one. I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed that you did it, and it turned out well. And you had sales. You had like a little open house or open studio special, right? For the folks that showed up. And that's a good idea. Yeah. I think that's a good idea too. Have something, make it worth their while to show up too. You know, if they come to that, that not only they get to get a peek into your studio life and where you work and things that you're working on, stuff we don't ever show people, right? They get to see some of that. And I think it's just good all around. If we can just get past the barrier of, oh, nobody's going to show up, or I can't do that. You know, we need to get past that. And
you just have to do it.
Yeah, right. Just take action. Just like I said in the last episode, you're really good at taking action. I think sometimes I overthink things for too long, and I think a lot of us do, right? I think about it, procrastinate, and it takes me a while to jump on it.
Yeah. Miriam Schulman, you know, we've talked about her on this podcast before. She has a podcast. She's an artist, and she has classes and all that kind of stuff. But she always talks about getting trapped in that procrastinating phase. Yeah, have you heard her say that? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think that's what you do sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Gotta nudge you along. Me and Vicky have to nudge you along and be like, okay, just do it.
I know. Hey, and I appreciate that because I don't realize I'm doing that. But you're exactly right. That is what I'm doing. Procrastinating.
Yeah.
Procrastinating and thinking I'm actually doing something worthwhile when actually I'm just putting off doing what I should be doing. And especially in order to move my business forward, you know.
Right. But once you decide to do something and you actually do it, it's usually great, you know?
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You just have to, you're always pulling things off, you know?
Well, I don't know if I'm pulling things off or not, but I try.
Yes. No, you do.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. All right. So how long, let's talk about your studio again, your open studio. So how long did you have it for? It was just very special hours, wasn't it?
It was from 11 to 4.
Okay, so that's a long time, actually.
Yeah, and one thing I learned is I think next time I'm going to have it 12 to 4 because I was really worried. The first 2 hours, I only had one person come.
Yeah.
So I was starting to get really worried. I was like, oh my gosh, like nobody's going to come. And I think she came at when did she come? I think she came at 12 or 12 o'clock, maybe around 12.
Yeah.
And then I didn't have anybody again until around 1 o'clock. So I think I'm going to do it 12 to 4 next time.
You know, you do what you want, but I will say that the 3-day show that I was at, this Christmas at the Cabin, Friday, we did it Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday morning, before I even got there was people lined up to get in.
Oh, really? Yeah, so I remember you saying that.
Oh, my God, it was crazy. So I think that as you progress and you get this, as your collectors get used to you having this, and they're like, oh, I want to get there in order to get this.
Yeah.
You know, because all the good stuff got taken first for our show on Friday morning, and especially, you know, Tom's stuff, his pottery just got sucked up. They were all like hoovers.
Wow.
I think that, you know, leave that open. You know, maybe do one more. Do it one more time at 11. Don't base that information on just one show or one open studio.
That's true. And plus,
it's not going to hurt you to be open, right? It's not going to hurt you either anyway.
Right, true. So, and the next time I'm going to invite more people too. So I'll probably invite 60 or 75 people next time.
And there are always early birds. people. There are some people, and then there's people that come last minute. I'm more of a last minute type of person.
Right.
But there always are. There was somebody that shut it down every night for my 3-day show and kept us there like almost 30 minutes longer. So there are those types.
Yeah.
So you just have to be prepared, and I think that, like I said, just keep your options open, and maybe after you start to establish for sure, okay, they're not coming at 11, then you change it. But maybe not, maybe not decide on that too soon.
Yeah, you have a good point. Yeah.
All right.
But and I wanted to give a shout out to my mom and dad. They don't listen to the podcast, but they were so helpful. My dad put the storm door up for me so I could leave the screen open. Yeah. And then my mom she took care of all my refreshments.
That's nice.
Well, except for the chocolate chip cookies, but she helped me get all that stuff ready but I had coffee and water, chocolate chip cookies, little mints, and nuts.
Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. Nice. Yeah. It was just kind of small, nothing real messy. I think that was a great decision on your part to have that.
Yeah.
And we had our local bakery, Donut Bank, right? And I hear everybody talk about the best coffee.
They loved the coffee, yes.
And you got a special. So instead of, I'm not a coffee drinker, so this would be useful to me if I wanted to have coffee at an open studio for myself. But tell everybody what you got with that. I just thought that was so cool.
Yeah. Well, this was so convenient and so what would you say? Cost efficient.
Cost efficient, yeah.
Yes, because if I would have bought all the stuff separately, it would have cost way more than what I paid Donut Bank. So they have this thing, you can get a gallon of coffee for $25. I think it's like $24.95 or something like that. Now, when you're listening to this, it's probably different because it might be in the future and their prices change,
Right.
Keep that in mind. But as of now, during this recording, it's about $25. You get a gallon of coffee, you get all the creamer
and
with
how many
it.
cups does that make?
I'm not entirely sure. But it was plenty. We went through 3/4 of it.
Oh, wow.
They gave me cups, which I asked for a few extras. I think I got about 8 cups with it. And, with lids too. They even gave lids, and we got sticks. I got creamer, sugar, sweetener. It came with everything, and napkins.
The whole shebang.
Yeah.
Oh, the whole shebang. Wow, that's great. And then that, you don't have to worry about that stuff, because I would, not being a coffee drinker, I would not have thought about the little stir sticks.
Oh, right.
And, so I just think that they just made it really easy for you. That's great.
And I did go ahead and buy one of those big coffee carafes. And then when I got the gallon of coffee home, after I cleaned out the carafe, I just put the coffee in there. And
that keeps it hot for a long time?
Yeah, it kept it warm all day. I mean, at the very end of the day, I had a cup, and it was still hot enough to drink.
Oh, cool.
So, it was perfect.
So maybe next time you'll have to add some little teacups or something, tea with it, if people want hot tea or...
Right.
I don't know. You're going to have it in May, so it'll be a little different. I don't know. Everybody drinks coffee all year round, though, so that probably will be a given. But you might want to have maybe a pitcher of lemonade or something.
Yeah, I thought about that.
Yeah. Because that'd be easy enough. You can buy a gallon of lemonade, right? Throw it in a pretty container, slice up some lemons to make it look good, and there you go.
Right.
That would be good. All right,
yeah, but all in all, I was happy with it.
Yeah. Well, you should have been. It turned out fantastic. And you sold some pieces, right? You did sell a few pieces.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I sold 3 originals. I think 3 originals and some cards and some bookmarks. One thing I did learn... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, because it was good to have small stuff like that, because it's Thanksgiving time, Christmas, so yeah.
Right. And one thing I learned is that for my December open studios in the future, I think I'm going to try to have more functional art. So like more bookmarks, journals with my art on them, and note cards, things like that, because people that day were really, it seemed like they were mostly picking up small items,
Yes. And I noticed that too at my Christmas at the cabin. And that is, I don't think I sold anything that was more than $40. So, that was all gift-giving prices, and, note cards are just a huge staple in stuff that I sell at any show, really. So those are always, so if anybody is discounting, not putting out note cards because they don't think that anyone writes anymore, you're missing out.
Yeah, they do
they
sell.
Are. Yeah,
they
and
do
some
sell.
people, yes, and some people just cut them apart and use them as art. They'll frame them, which is great. I love that.
Yeah, I've had people do that with mine too.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we've just about covered. Can you think of anything else? What did you learn? Like, I know you've made enough to cover your expenses. Oh, and you also, revamped your house a little bit, right? You had some fresh mulch brought in.
Oh,
gravel or stuff.
Yeah.
You pressure washed your house.
Yeah, it desperately needed it. Yeah, I tried to spruce up the house a little bit, make it look a little nicer,
Yeah. I think that's great.
That was a good motivator. Having it up in studio is a good motivator to clean the house real good and
your studio.
Spruce up the outside and organize the studio. So my studio was very organized that day. So I need to keep it like that all the time because I think I'm going to start inviting people more often to come to my house to pick things up when I sell stuff instead of delivering it. That way they can come to my studio and
for sure. Yeah. Whenever we had Christmas at the cabin, we had a door prize, and it totaled more than $100. And so I am always like, I got to get it to the person, the winner. It was a winner takes all. One person won it. And we've had pop-ups like that before. But the person had to go to Tom's house to pick it up because his collector won this time. My collector won last time, and I delivered it. But I think that you're onto something there, and he is too. You get the people to come to your studio and do that. That way, you're not out. They're already winning something. So most people will travel, right, to get that. And he was way out, and so people are so excited to get it. They don't care how far out it is, and it is another chance for them to come in and visit you in your studio.
Yeah.
And see what you're working on. I think it's just another great way to build the relationships like we were talking.
Oh, yeah, I think so, too.
So, okay, as we're wrapping this up, is there anything besides the timing, would you change anything? Is there anything you'd do differently? Would you start earlier? Anything? Did you learn something that you would change?
I think the hours were the main thing. Maybe just revising or trying some different hours the next time. But, honestly, I don't know. I think I'll do what you said and keep it at 11 to 4 at least one more time and see how it works the next time,
Yeah, I kind of think, 2 out of 3. You need to do at least 3 to figure out a pattern to see where it goes because you just never know. You may get people, especially in May, school will be still, but, you've got baseball and everything's starting, so people might want to come early. You never know.
Right, true.
Maybe take a poll for some of your people when they come in. Ask them. Say, hey, would you have come earlier if you wanted to even do it earlier? I don't know. I know you were running around.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, because if these are the people that are showing up, then ask them. Say, hey, what time would work better for you, or is this perfect? Or I don't think we just can't get enough information, right? Just all the information we can get is helpful.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. I think that's going to help a lot of people. I think it was fantastic on your part. I guess I shot myself in the foot, though, by making you do it, because now we're probably not going to have any more pop-ups, which I don't blame you. I wouldn't do another pop-up. I wouldn't do another pop-up if I had a studio like yours with easy access. Why would you? It's such a hassle to take everything out to some other place,
I don't know. I might still do some pop-ups.
Think so?
Maybe one a year or something,
Yeah. Okay, we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Our March one last year did really well.
Oh, yeah. That was a really good one. And I think you still need to look at the option of having an open studio.
Yeah, I know. I need to look into that. But Tom did the Christmas at the cabin. He is an inspiration because he lives out and actually further gravel road than I do. I live a little further away from town, but it takes longer to get to his, at least on gravel. So knowing that his collectors, they are dedicated. They come, like I said, they were lined up Friday, and it was just constant.
That's amazing.
People. I know. So, he's been doing this a long time, though, and he does have really devoted collectors. But I would like to try it, and I always say that if I was going to do it, I want to do it in the summer before it gets too hot, but when my gardens are all blooming, because you guys know that I'm like a garden freak. I've got flowers everywhere, and that's what I would like to do. And I've actually had people ask me, "Hey, when are you going to have an open house so I can come see your flowers?"
Oh, yeah. See? People are interested in you doing that.
Well, they might be interested in just my flowers, though, and that's not really the point. Although I do like to show off my flowers,
Yeah. But that would get them through your studio at the same time. And maybe if they're coming for more to see your gardens, and then they get sidetracked with your studio, and, that would be a good thing,
Yeah, right. Well, so this kind of brings to mind for me, so if we have any listeners, if you live out in the country, so I'm like 20 minutes away from a small town and about 35 to 45 minutes away from the large town of Evansville. So if there are any listeners out there, they say that they live out in the country, if they've had an open studio, let me know. Shoot us an email at creativetypepodcast@gmail.com and just let me know how that did for you, if you have any recommendations, and we'll give you a shout out on our podcast. And I would just love to know if anyone had any tips, because I've watched a lot of stuff and read up on it, and you've just learning with you has been great. But I do have to say, you have an awesome location.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. All right. Well, you got anything else to say about your open studio?
I don't think so, except just thank you to everyone who came.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to having another one.
Right. And this just goes to show that if you have a space, do it. Just do it. I don't think people care really what the space is. I bet they would go into a bedroom in a house if that was your studio. I think people just like to see where the artist works.
Yeah.
And, like we said, like we keep saying, it's a relationship building, like team building, it's relationship building with your collector, potential client, whatever you want to call them. And I just want to encourage everybody to do it. I have to listen to my own words here, and maybe this year will be my year.
Right. That's right.
I need to do it.
Yeah.
All right, Lori. Well, it's been a good podcast, and, we're on a streak. We've got 2 more. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, and if you want to do us a favor, give us a review, give us a like, share our podcast, especially on Apple. It helps other artists find us, and that's the best thing you can do for us, is just share our podcast. And we're on Instagram and Facebook under Creative Type Podcast. Now, we don't post a whole lot on there, but it does have links. Oh, and we're on YouTube as well. And we just have to give a little reminder that we're not doing we're not doing video right now because my internet just stinks. And we were using Zoom for that before, and it worked great while it was working, and then it just kind of tanked. But that's why we're not doing the video right now. But we will have the audio on YouTube, but probably just a nice picture of Lori on there or something.
Oh, yeah.
Well, all right. Well, thanks for listening. And, we're always open for ideas for podcasts. If you've got an idea for a podcast, shoot us an email, and we'll have all the links in the show notes to see Lori's work, maybe some pictures from her open studio we can get in there this time, and links for my stuff too. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time on Creative Type Podcast.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, that was a good one.
Okay, yeah.
We did cool. 30 minutes, so it was, we probably recorded for about 28 minutes on that one.
Yeah, I think we did, because,
My nose is getting clogged up.
Oh.
I don't know why it does that. I think I'm just such a mouth breather.
Yeah.
I'm giving you all kinds of B-roll to use, aren't I? All right. Well, are we going to call it for this one?
I think so.
Okay, yeah, because I'm hungry. I haven't eaten lunch.
Me too.
All right. Well, you need to get your post office stuff done.
Yeah.
And okay, so just share this with me whenever you get it up, so I can write the show notes for it. I took good notes on the first one, but not the second one. I did not take good notes.
Oh, okay.
So I'll need to listen to it, and I don't have access to it now since I don't have a Zoom recording.
Mm-hmm.
So and we're still doing the Tuesday drop, is it?
Yeah, I think we should.
Okay, yeah.
Tuesday worked out well.
Okay, sounds good to me. And
all right.
Just let me know ahead of time so I can get those show notes written.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Love you. Bye.
Love you too. Bye.